You're listening to Empowering Voices, Breaking Barriers with the Men of Confidence Mentorship Program, also known as MCM, a podcast series from Rockford University. The MCM program is funded by the Associated Colleges of Illinois in partnership with Rockford University. This podcast provides a platform for students to enhance their leadership and communication skills by engaging with influential leaders from across the nation. Our aim is to learn about the personal journey of our guests and hear their perspective on how to become confident leaders. In this episode, criminal justice major and MCM mentor Whitney Harris III interviews Antwon Harris, a published author, former basketball player and coach, who currently serves as a motivational coach, helping community youth to overcome adversity and achieve their goals. Mr. Harris will share insights into his life and join us in a conversation in becoming a confident leader.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Empowering Voices, Breaking Barriers with MCM. My name is Whitney Harris III. I am a junior here at Rockford University, and today I am joined by my guest, motivational speaker and coach, Antwon Harris. Antwon, how are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great myself. It's been a real nice little week, we're having a little bit of weather here, but we don't pay attention too much to that in Rockford.
Wait, you scared of weather?
No, I'm never scared of weather.
Where are you from?
Chicago.
And you scared of Rockford?
I'm not scared of the weather. We're just having a little bit of it,
Yeah.
So to kind of start off our podcast, I like to, just know a little bit about your upbringing, where you're from and, just your past experience that you've had.
Let's see. Son of military parents, both in the Army. Was born in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, which is borders Clarksville, Tennessee. Lived there for a few years, and then we moved to Southwest Michigan, Benton Harbor, which is a small town, about 90 minutes from Chicago. About 90 minutes from Chicago. But lived there until I was in middle school, then moved back to Clarksville, Tennessee, where I went to high school and graduated from Kenwood High School. From there, went on to play junior college ball, Division I ball, semi-pro ball, taught, coached, and now run my own company. So I have siblings. I have 7 brothers and a sister. Life was interesting growing up, but having a house full of kids it's crazy. It's a lot of fun, a lot of energy, a lot of drama, but with a lot of boys, rough housing. I like to tell people I was raised by wolves because I'm on the baby end of the kid spectrum. So yeah, life was like I said, it was interesting, low income, but found a way and we made a way.
I believe that's all that matters, growing up from that past to present, it's just like a big change.
Yeah.
But just having that motivation.
Yeah.
And going into that type of motivation, what really motivated you in the past to become who you are now, just grow into this company, man, grow into this coach?
Man, it was a lot. And sports really helped. It was an outlet for me, just being away from the family to kind of do my own thing with basketball. I come from a football family. All of my siblings played football. I did as well up until 8th grade. And then I did my focus more on basketball. But being away and just seeing different perspectives, teammates, livelihoods, teammates, lives, coaches, and things of that nature really kind of helped me broaden my horizons, look at things from different points of views, and that being a part of a team really helped me do that. So I would like to say that really kind of shaped a lot of things. It's just getting different perspectives and backgrounds from people who different side of the town. Once I went to college, different part of the country, different countries. I just really something I paid attention to and asked certain questions to really engage with them and get to know them. That really helped me be, I feel, more balanced and well-rounded today.
I would say that, just dealing with that, like I said, being well-rounded, and then being familiar with those people with different backgrounds. Like you said, getting to grow into a company and have multiple companies, it isn't easy. And get to learn and know so many people.
Yes.
Through connections, through just getting those, friendships and relationships. Could you tell me a little bit more about how those relationships also played a part to how you are today.
And then another great question. Relationships are huge. I like to say I'm a relationships guy for sure, because building and sustaining a meaningful and purposeful relationships, I think, is key. You know, a lot of people have the wrong intentions for relationships, but the intentionality behind it, the meaningfulness, the purposefulness of it has really, I would like to say, your net worth is determined by your network. And I really find that to be true in a lot of instances in my life. When a net worth or just relationship capital that I've built with people who, I genuinely care about, who genuinely cares about me. And we start somewhere where we meet, and then we grow and branch off into these different avenues and areas of life and career. And sometimes, a lot of times, they find their way back. I just visited a former coach who had a game in Peoria last week. They went on the road to upset Bradley and UT Martin. That UT Martin coach, Jeremy Schumann, he coached me when he was 21 and I was 14 for the AU program that I played for all throughout high school. But having those relationships, having relationships with individuals or friendships with people who I've gotten free tickets to games, NBA games. If my buddy James is repping a game and it's near me, it's pretty easy to get a ticket. But these are genuine relationships. Don't call just for those reasons, but we call, we have check-ins all over, and that's really, really key, because people like to be cared for. People don't like to be taken advantage of. Know that somebody really is caring about them, thinking about them, and just to have a call. But I will say this: you don't want to also be that person who is always reaching out. Like that can be an issue. You have those people who that you're the person who always reaching out, and sometimes you just have to pull back a little bit and don't reach out, because those could be people that may be taking advantage of their relationship with you. And with that, partnerships to getting employees, interns, and things of that nature. It's the work that I've done in different areas that people have trusted, believe in, giving me a chance, and then being approachable in those arenas, and again, being approachable, being genuine, just being who you are, authentic. I think people really value authenticity, and I just try to live a life like that, which live a life of light that people can be drawn to.
And just giving into that, like you said, being an authentic person goes a long way, whether you're making connections to your company, whether you're making connections to old friends and coaches. Yeah. It plays a big role, especially in the impact that you have on people's lives.
Thank you.
And it goes a long way.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're a little bit more familiar with each other.
Yep.
I believe you were the main speaker in two of our Chop It Ups. Our Chop It Ups are a little thing. We have a guest speaker come in and just give us a lot more, influential details about, just the world in general.
Yeah.
And as a mentee, and then growing up to be a mentor now to others, I would say I take a lot of inspiration off of that, because when you start out, like I said, even starting out in college when I first got it, it's like you learn so much. You learn new people, you learn new things. You want to make those different connections. And then as you grow older, you realize that, okay, I can pass this information down to others, as you would pass down information to other people. And just getting to know more people, getting to know those connections, you're like, oh yeah, this is so much more information that I can bestow upon the younger generation, bestow upon them.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up with you being a mentee than a mentor, because that's exactly what we try to do with my mentorship group, the Self-Equity Program, is we take these ninth grader mentees, and by the end of the year, develop them enough. Maybe it's their ninth grade year or the end of the 10th grade year, but having them be a mentee to the incoming freshmen that will be with either the next year or the next 2 years. And we really want to prepare them and train them, coach them up, and have these meetings with them to really have that ripple effect. It's like dropping a rock in a pond, just have that ripple effect with how we can impact people in a positive way, even within our own peer group. So that's one of the big goals of that, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's very possible to become a mentee from being a mentor. I mean, being a mentor from a mentee, just how you approach it. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Of course.
That's huge.
And even in my time as a mentor now, I've been a mentor for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that there's always a situation where I could still be a mentee and I could still be mentored by someone else.
Yeah.
Because in the circle of life, as you know, there's always someone who knows more. There's always someone who's a little bit wiser. And I've learned that there's still a lot I have to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Even from, like I said, I play football here. So even from like a coaching perspective, I learned the knowledge from the coaches. I've learned just multiple things over the past few years just playing football. And it's not just from a coaching standpoint in football, it's from a life perspective as well.
Yeah.
They taught me a lot of life lessons.
Yeah.
And even when teachers here too, they'll teach you certain things, but there's also a lot of lessons that I can learn from them. So going based on that, I wanted to get to your background as a teacher first and how that background for being a teacher played a big role into you being a motivational speaker and coach.
Before I hit that, I want to just talk about the not too old to be a mentee type of thing. When you talk about just leadership, right? I think one of the biggest things in leadership is the ability to take the lowest seat in the house, the lowest seat in the room, to like, if you feel like that you need to let everybody know how much you know. I don't think that's a great value in leadership. Just being able to hear other people and their perspectives and point of views, like taking that lowest seat. I'm not the smartest. I'm not going to act like I'm the smartest, but I think that's a characteristic of leadership, and I think when it comes to that, it's very, very important. I kind of got rolled into going into teaching. Kind of got rolled into that with basketball being done, with the youth sports being a part of my life, that kind of being over with as well. Just staying within sports, I just realized that, man, I have a love for kids and the growth of students and the growth of kids and the growth of families. And like, what better way than to be in a situation with teaching, and like having that opportunity when I moved back to Rockford from coaching at to teach at Legacy Academy of Excellence. They needed a gym teacher, and then that developed into from gym teacher to a couple of classes of individuals and societies, which is social studies. So did that, and then that elevated me to be the PLC leader, professional learning community leader of all the teachers. So I was, after a year, thrown into leadership roles that my bosses, the leaders of the school, thought I was prepared for. And that, just again, seeing the light bulb go off in students in the classroom, in class, or in the gym, versus seeing a light bulb when coaching, there's something about some satisfaction that gets out of that for me, to see that people are growing and developing, not only within the sport, but just how I'm teaching it, how I'm able to relate it to them, and for them to be able to receive it in a way and then use it and apply it. So I think it's just very different. People have very different coaching styles and teaching styles, and in mine, when I'm able to see those things develop and the light bulb goes off, man, it just continue to motivate me to keep going. So now when you talk about motivational speaking, I think one of the biggest things I saw in that was another way to impact people at one of the higher levels, that motivating, and I discovered motivating is one thing, but you got to have something inside of you as well. You got to have a little bit of inspiration. Because when a motivation starts, you got to have some discipline. And when you have discipline, how do you get that? You got to be inspired by something. Something has to get you deep in, like inspire you so much that I want to do it even when I don't want to do it. So what is that inspiration? And that inspiration has been my family. I'm a father of 5, and that started at the age of 17. So I've been kind of put my own self behind an 8-ball, but with my decisions, my choices from back then just led me to who I am today. I've always been a person who's been inspired by other people, who had a sense of motivation, who had some discipline, and it really had to kind of figure it out and how to use it and apply it in a way that I can grow and develop. But that I wanted to just tell my story of what I've from childhood to adolescenthood to being a young adult to playing on TV and ESPN and just balancing all these things to, again, where I'm at today on my own company, multiple companies, and living to tell about it, and also want to inspire people to do the same. So no matter where you come from, just making sure you have the right people in place to help you get to where you want to get to.
That was very powerful. I also believe in such a high thing that family is everything. Like I said, I have 3 other siblings. We're all around the same age. I have a twin brother, twin sisters, not too far apart, 11 months apart.
Mm-hmm.
And it would literally get to the point like, so I would do anything for them.
Yeah.
Anything. And they know that. But I know they would also reciprocate and do the same for me. Family has been and seemed to be your biggest motivator for everything that you do, that you've done. And it just goes to show like how much of a part they played into, your motivation and even being a motivational speaker. I'm sure there's been a lot of times where you brought up family.
Yeah.
And talked about how much of an impact they've had on you today.
Yes. My family, but I'm also a man of faith, man, a man of God, and that's where it starts. And I know that God blesses families. And there was a time in my life where I was a little selfish. I was chasing the dream of trying to get, do professional basketball and all those things. I got there, but just, unsatisfied when I got there. In those situations, it did become a little bit lonely, and I would, realize later I was chasing the wrong thing. And with God blessing families, me moving back to Tennessee, to be closer to my family, and that's when for me things started to take off in business because all these things, because of my life and the things that I've built with the relationships, it was just sitting there, but it was just until I committed myself to my family and knowing that God blesses families and my faith, my belief, just growing up, just never wavering from it. That really, so it's like God, family, and then everything else. And, that has been the catalyst for me and my success for sure, hands down.
I feel the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like God plays a huge role in my life, and I believe in everyone else's, to this point that it's like when you spoke back on that time when you got to the professional basketball level, and it was God telling you okay, I feel like this isn't, for you. I feel like this isn't your path, and going down that different path led you to the person you are now, and in that development. And it really goes to show how sometimes we believe we're on a set path, we have this certain guide or destiny that we have or fate that we're supposed to go out.
Yeah.
And then it ends up being the complete opposite, but it ends up being much more successful in the fact that this is what I was meant to be. This is what I'm meant to be doing.
I never thought that I'll be an entrepreneur or business owner. Never thought, didn't want to do it. It was like, I was just going to work for somebody. But I realized that I was just suppressing myself, my eyes were not opened enough, my blinders were on, and just thought that is what God had for me. And when I discovered there was a article written on me when I was 5 years old, and in that article it had a lot about character, self-confidence. And when the person was talking about me, I did Martin Luther King, an excerpt from the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream, March on Washington speech. And in there, it was a lot of things about education and self-confidence and self-esteem within the article. And I felt like that article back then was basically forecasting my life. That article knew I was supposed to do what I'm doing now. And I'm in education. I'm inspiring. Because I said, they asked what I want to be when I grow up. I said, basketball player, or a doctor or something like that. So, and I ended up being not a basketball player, not a doctor, but helping people in another way. So that's kind of how I viewed it. And it, like I said, seriously impacted my life when I realized this article that was written on me. I was like, oh, I was here to do this. This has shown me that I was here for a reason. This is my purpose. And I need to continue to live that out. That's why it's still working. That's why all that I do with these schools and school districts around the country, that it works because I am in my purpose. I am living out my purpose, which I never thought it'll be in the education sector. And what I'll be doing now, never would have thought. I just thought I'd play basketball, retire off of my basketball life and like basketball money. And like, no, it's more to do.
I feel like in that aspect, from that mindset, you was like, yeah, I'm gonna play basketball, and I'll just be better off doing that. But then it's always that little thought in the back of your mind, which because you did, you're like, oh, I can do that, but do I want to be something greater? And a lot of people in their lives tend to have that thought, but they don't generally reciprocate it. They'll be like, oh yeah, I got that thought, but what's the easiest route?
Yeah.
A lot of people take the easier route.
Yeah.
They don't think how much higher they could achieve. And I noticed that with a lot of people that I've met and encountered with. And I would always, like I said, I'm always been the type to motivate people. I always want to be a person's biggest motivator. Even with my siblings, I always motivate them to chase their dreams, to chase what they're doing. I don't ever want to put anyone down. And I believe that everyone has a higher ceiling than what they set themselves to. So one of my main questions to you would be, what would you say really made you invest so much time into these foundations, these businesses? And what made you like truly, focus on those type of things?
I was forced into it. I was forced when like I started to see a pattern where, that's a great question. I started to see this pattern of 4 years I'll get to the top and then it's like somehow it will be taken from me. When it came to 4 years of high school basketball, got to the top, one of the top 100 players in the country, then I had to start over from in college, in junior college. And then for 4 years, won championships, all this and that. And then I graduated college. And then when I got to my 4th year playing semi-pro, pro basketball, I had and I wasn't in it anymore. And at the same time, I had a slight Achilles injury. So it's like these 4-year spans of life where I'll get to this certain point when I feel like I got it. And it was like, nope, time to start over. And again, like, faith-based guy, just my relationship with God is just like, I had to be sat down and just really kind of lock in. Like, all right, I get into these 4 years and it's not getting anywhere, and I have to start over all that. Again, I was married for 4 years, and then out of blue, we both decided to get divorced. Like all of this stuff with my life that they were in 4-year spans, and I had to look at myself. And like, all right, the common denominator in all of this is me.
Right.
So what can I do to get better? And I just started to seek out information when it comes to just counseling and like understanding myself more. Like, why do I think the way I think? Why do I make decisions that I make and all this and that? And just really trying to uncover those things and take a deep dive into myself. Deep dive into looking myself in the mirror. Because people always say, oh, no, you gotta look yourself in the mirror until you really stare and stand and you're in a home by yourself and you are looking in the mirror and realizing like, this is not where I want to be at. There's more. There's so much more. So that's when I said like sat down and kind of forced into this. I was forced to hold the mirror up to myself and realize that there is more to me, and I believe it. And I had these big dreams. I've always been a big dreamer. That's why I wrote my first book, Dreaming Big, because you have to dream big. And what I've learned with people, what you were talking about, people have those dreams. There's a lot of people who don't like to work hard. There's a lot of people that don't want to put the work in, because it all sounds good until it's time to put the work in. I started to fall in love with the process of getting better. That like any process, I start to fall in love with that, not the result. Because I get the result. My first contract with schools, I'm like, oh, I did it. All right, see, how can we keep going? It's the process. And are you willing? How bad do you want it? Number one, and what are you willing to sacrifice? So anybody who's out there listening, and you're going through it, how bad do you want it, and what are you willing to sacrifice in these moments to be greater later? So, because it's not going to happen overnight. It is going to take time. You're going to have to sit with yourself. You're going to have to really lock in on how to be better and do research on your own self, because we are a species of patterns. Your patterns, don't pay attention to a person's word, pay attention to their patterns. And that's going to tell you a lot about them.
I fully agree 100% with everything you just said. Like I said, falling in love with the process, as you would say, it's not something that everyone's capable of. It's not something that everyone wants to do, because it's much more easier to be like, oh yeah, I can go down this path. It's real. It was easy. I can just do that, set my life in stone, and not have to think outside the box.
Yeah, that's easy. If people want that, hey,
That's perfectly fine.
that's perfectly fine. But if you're really stuck and you really want something more and you're sure about that, then you're gonna do more. And that's why I teach now the self-equity, being able to understand yourself better, being able to help solve, be a problem solver by being creative, your knowledge, your experience, your own ideas, thinking for yourself. Just really harp on that in the process of really, teaching kids education within education.
And one of the things I like that you said, self-equity, it's not something that you just teach, but it's also something that you follow. These different values that you have, you don't just teach them. These are like these life choices that you make, these life decisions that you make that have built up to this point in time, that you talk about these things as a motivational speaker, you talk about these things as a motivational coach, and you let other people know, oh, I don't just say it, like I've lived these values, I've lived this self-equity, I've lived all of this. And in a way, you educate those that also want to strive to do more, to go down the same path.
Absolutely.
And I feel like even without you knowing it, those people that took the easier path or have wanted to, you speaking to them, I'm sure gave them that bigger impression that, oh, I can do more. Like, I can go past that. So much more than you know, there's probably thousands of people whose lives that you have just made so much better. I'm telling them they need to take that extra step. And like I said, out of all the people that you talk to, you're like, yeah, okay, like I've talked to a bunch of people, but you never know if you were like that person's last motivation to be like, oh, should I take that extra step? You just like, you should take that extra step. And then they took it, and now they're living so much better. And like I said, you may not even know it.
Yeah, I really don't do it for that. It's a lot of it when I talk to people. It's on my heart. It's on my heart. It's things there. A lot of people go through the same things. It may look different, but just being able to speak to those things that, I don't really say I've been there before, but I can empathize with them and just really, hey, here's how I did it. I'm not sure if it can help you get there, but here's how I did it. But just go on that journey of discovery on how those things can work for you. But I appreciate you saying that, because I do it. I felt like I was led to do these things. I'm not pulling things out of the sky and just making stuff up. And these are real life issues that I've went through, and things that I've saw or heard, or someone sharing their story with me, and it helped me share. Well, they share their story with me and said that I can reshare it to just really, inspire at least one person. So yeah, this is, again, didn't realize that I would get to this point in life. But there's a lady here in Rockford, Kim Lawson, works with the Rockford Park District. She said you have this it factor, and people are drawn to you, and there's a light about you. People look up to you. People follow you. You got to make sure you do what's right and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just been cool to hear that, and not knowing what it is, but now discovering that, it's just like, oh, this is what you guys are talking about. Oh, I'm walking in it, so I see it and I feel it, and but yeah, I just feel in a flow state right now, because I've lived a life so long of trying to survive, like adolescenthood, just trying to survive. When I became an adult, having kids, just trying to survive, just treading water, and now it feels great to not have to do that anymore. It's more flowing, and the more that it's flowing right now, like there are so many opportunities that are coming, like this one today, talking with you guys, which again, I am so grateful and thankful for.
And we're very grateful to have you here. I just think that everything in life leads up to a certain point in time. We have very different paths from each other, and our presents are also different. Futures will also be very different. But everyone in a certain point in time has a choice they can make. You chose the harder path. You chose, like you said, yeah, this is what I'm going to stick with, this is what I'm going to do. And you never gave up on that process, which made you get to where you are today.
Yes.
So during those bumps along the road, what really kept you going the most? What really kept you motivated?
My faith in my family, because it was very hard. Starting my own company with pretty much no money. I took my TRS out and got penalized for that with money. But you know what? I'm all in on myself. As great Fred Van Vliet says, bet on yourself. I bet on myself that I had something, and then I had, you know, things, higher power, God just orchestrating, and things just started to drop in my spirit, in my mind, just like, oh, this go. I had so many resources already from when I played sports, from being a dad to being a son to being a coach to being a teacher to being a basketball player, being a top basketball player to being a role player. Just all these experiences that I accumulated through life to now just form this company that's built and based off that. That's what it was, and faith and family. That's what kept me going. Faith and family, sure.
And I would say, yeah, I've noticed, like, as we've been talking, those are just like your biggest motivators, your biggest things that help you go. And I fully agree. Like I said, I relate back to it. Just a man of faith. I've just looked so far into all these situations in my life that I've ever been in, and now I'd be like, okay, I see that God put me in these situations for a reason. God would motivate to be like, oh yeah, you have a choice to make. You can make that good choice or that bad choice. Whatever choice that you tend to make or teeter on, that is what will bring you to where you gotten to. And I also feel like in that circumstance where everyone in life makes good and bad choices. And sometimes you may think, and sometimes it'll be the opposite, that good choice you may actually be the bad choice. The bad choice actually ended up being the good choice. And I know on your path to getting to where you are now, you would also feel like that's the same where you're like, yeah, you made a lot of good choices, a lot of bad choices, but it brought you where you are today.
Yeah.
And it got you to that, that milestone that you set for yourself. But like I was just saying and listening to you, it wasn't easy at all. No. And it will never be easy, especially choosing that harder path, especially going down that path of creating your own company, getting those foundations that you established.
I don't want it to be easy, honestly. Yeah. I wake up, I like to be challenged. I like to be in a position where there is problem solving. You have to think creatively. We see in the world today, I just want to bring it full circle with the world today. You have AI, you have technology that is going haywire, and people they are, taking over jobs, etc. But teachers use it. There's so many people, business owners, entrepreneurs, we all use some type of technology that's going to help enhance it. So it's like, are we going to shy away from it and say no, or are you going to now use it to enhance things, but still not making it everything, but just having a balance? In all things, you want to be balanced. I just try to teach that to my kids, teach that, to my family, to people that I'm working with, just with balance. And very hard to work-life balance, but for me, for sure, because I have no big company donating money to my 501c3. I have no big backer that has helped funding my company. This is all me, and me going out and selling the programs, products, and services, believing in them, and then being able to get those contracts. But the balance, and all of this can really help you grow exponentially.
And it's way different. The greatest achievement that I feel like a person could have is seeing something and being like, I built this. Now, it's not like, compared to me, it's not like on a company scale, but hey, when I built my grandma's shelf, I'm like, yeah, I built that. I built that shelf. But when you look at it from like a foundation, a company perspective, you're like, I made this. I built this from the ground up. And I didn't have a supporter, like you said, you didn't have a backer. I'm doing this like on my own. And it feels a lot more, you feel a lot more accomplished and a lot more just, okay. Like, I'm going to just keep expanding this. I'm going to just keep promoting my program. I'm just keep promoting my foundation. And I feel like as other people start to see that, you gain a lot of supporters, you gain a lot of that. But you never really, like you said, you sound more like you never looked into that. Like, I love the support. Yeah, I love it. It's amazing. But I want to build this up because I built this up.
Those exact words, I typically only say in private, but you're absolutely right. And I want you to look at it as the point of view of an artist with a blank canvas, right? That artist, there's something that inspired that artist to paint this stroke this way and this stroke that way to get this beautiful portrait or painting or you know, a character they may create. It was inspired from somewhere, and you have that blank canvas and like, this is my artwork. Like, this company, this is my artwork. Yeah, I can say, like I said in private, I did this, but it was inspired somewhere. And just like those artists, it's like, that's their artwork. You want to be proud of that. And again, I am being, as of today, I heard this today, Antwon, you are being talked about in such a great way in rooms that you're not even in. Obviously, you don't know that because you're not in the rooms, but hearing that is just really cool. And I just, you know, continue to be the light. I just want to continue to be the light. I was reminded a couple weeks ago, that same AAU team, we had our first ever reunion for the AAU program that was built back in the early 2000s. And a couple of my teammates were there. They always said I came around with all the energy. I was the high energy guy all the time, on the court, off the court. And I kind of forgot about that. I do bring a lot of energy in every aspect of my life, but sometimes I just forget, like, I've always been this way. It's just been a lifestyle, you know? It's been a lifestyle of helping people and being, you know, a good person to people, and just kind of faith-based and, you know, family-oriented, love to be around people. Yeah, that ability to influence and in a positive way. Yeah, it's been cool.
So I would say through all that adversity, like you said, that you faced early in your life to get to the point you are now, and to face that criticism, like you said, I know it was a lot. And having to deal with that, like you said, on a daily basis, but always sticking with that mindset, well, I'm not stuck in this. Like, things will get better. Things will grow better. And even, you know, having children and being able to tell them, like, you know, you can truly do what you want to do if you put your mind to it. I know that must be such a great feeling. It must be such a great motivator to keep doing what you do, to keep, you know, just building on your company, building on these foundations. And it really makes you, like you said, it really puts the perspective of being a man, especially in today's society.
Yeah, because I realized there's going to be two types of pain. It's going to be the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Like, choose your pain. I heard Coach Carol Larson say, like, choose. This life is hard. There are things hard in life. Choose your hard. Choose your difficult, man, because it's not going to get easy. So those two types of pain, you choose which one. The pain of regret, like, man, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Or the pain of discipline, that, yeah, it's going to hurt, but I know I'm going to be better for it. And like, I have this thing that's coming out of my next book, the CDC of success, which is being commitment, discipline, consistency. Without commitment, you never start. Without consistency, you never finish. And that discipline in between, that is the point where it's like, all right, I got the commitment down, but are you going to be disciplined enough? And then discipline, that now leads to the consistency. And what you want to see in life is, you know, the consistency. So being able to put those two together in that order. You can't be disciplined without being committed. You cannot be consistent without being disciplined. And for those who are watching, please be committed, disciplined, and consistent. You get a long way with just being those things.
So as we start to go into a little bit of the final part of our podcast, I would like to ask, through motivational speaking, what has been the biggest lesson that you've been able to teach to people?
First off is the belief in yourself. That's number one. You just got to believe that you can do it. Believe/dream big. And then it goes into, are you committed to it? And what I just said, are you disciplined enough to keep that commitment? And over time, that discipline will turn into consistency. And I think between right there, dreaming big, number one, and then number two would be committed, be disciplined, be consistent. And then if I would go number three, just be intentional and being authentic. Those three things will carry you a long way. They really will. So yeah, that's kind of how I've done that. But in that, you have to know yourself. You have to understand yourself, and You have to do the personal work before you can get to the confidence, before you can get to the commitment, discipline, consistency, before you can like really be your authentic and intentional self. You gotta learn who you are first.
And those two main words that I've learned through all that is discipline and consistency.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot of distractions. So many.
Yeah.
Like, plentiful. Like I said, even being a college student myself and even about to graduate soon, I've learned and just seen so many distractions.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people fall to those distractions. Mm-hmm. And it's very unfortunate, but at the end of the day, life is about, like I said, going back to what I said earlier, those good and those bad choices. Are you going to let those distractions make or break you?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to play into those distractions' hands to draw you off course, to draw you from what you're trying to do and that life mission that you set for yourself? And as you can tell from yourself, yeah, you had a lot of distractions.
Ton.
Yes. Bunch of them.
Ton.
But now, getting to where you are now, it clearly shows that you didn't let those distractions make or break you.
No, and I got one thing. I have to go to my phone for this as well. But you guys, you have an opportunity to look at yourself, and you want to know certain things. And the number one question you want to know, what is it like to be around me? Like, you can have your own personal view about things, but what is it like to be around me? What is it like to be on the other side of me? The next thing is, second question is, do you know where you want to go? That's the vision question. Get clarity about where you want to go. To move from where you want to go, from where you are to where you want to be, it takes great intentionality. Number 3, what credit can I give away? That's the team player question. When things are going well, our greatest temptation is to take some type of credit for it. What mistakes can I own? Humility. There's the humility part. All right. When was the last time you used the words, my bad, my fault, I'm sorry? Number 5, how can I get better? Self-improvement question starts internally, then make it externally by asking others. Number 6, when can I make time to invest in myself? This is the schedule question. We go through life, it gets so crazy. We don't take time to schedule how we can improve ourselves. Number 7, who am I investing in for the future? This is the legacy question. What is your legacy when you leave this earth going to look like? Right now, I have books. I have other these things that there's going to be left behind once I leave this earth. Last but not least, who knows who I really am? These are 8 questions that can help lead yourself better as you are on your journey of self-discovery. And
that was very powerful, and I know our viewers are going to take that in and learn a lot from it. Antwon, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you
for being on this episode. And I greatly appreciate the motivational words as well. I could tell, like I said, it really makes sense how you became a motivational speaker and coach, because I feel very motivated right now.
Yeah,
especially after everything that I've learned, and just like I said before, even being a mentor, I can always learn something new.
Absolutely.
And learn just a bunch of new things. So
thank you
very much. And to those out there, be sure to join us next time in our important discussions and going around the community. Until next time, stay empowered.
Thank you for joining us on Empowering Voices, Breaking Barriers with MCM. We appreciate you tuning in. Remember to follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram for updates and future episodes. We encourage you to join the conversation and share your insights about today's discussion, because your voice matters, and we are committed to building a community where everyone is empowered.